Today we're going to make kale salad with apples. So this is kale. This is called curly kale, and there's different kinds. There's also Tuscan kale, or sometimes called dinosaur kale, and that has kind of a mottled surface. But kale is a hardy green, as opposed to like spinach, which is a tender green. So because it's a hardy green, it needs tenderizing. Sometimes that means cooking it a long time, but we're making a salad. So we're going to be tenderizing it with lemon juice and olive oil. You'll see that in a minute. I fold it in half, and I'm going to take the stem away from the leaf, and then I'm going to just put it on the cutting board and hold it in my little claw here. And I'm going to cut it into very, very thin strips. If I had really big strips, it would be a problem to eat. It wouldn't tenderize as well. So these very thin strips are called chiffonade, which means little rags. So we're going to take the kale, and I've already cut up a whole bunch of kale. So that's the kale part is done. Next, I've got a really great Honeycrisp apple, which happens to be my favorite eating apple and was recommended to us for this recipe. So a quick and easy way to cut the apple into little wedges is what I want to finally put into the salad. So I'm putting it flat side down. A round fruit is hard to cut, so find your flattest side. And I'm going to cut around the core. So that's one side. I'm leaving that. I'm putting it flat side down. And one more time. And then I've got flat surface to be able to cut into slices. And then I'm going to take them and cut them into little wedges. So I'll show you what that is. And those I'm going to put into this bowl here. I started with some of them, and I put some lemon juice on them because that keeps them from turning brown. So I'm going to just finish cutting these real quick. The rest of our apples, and they don't have to be in any particular size. You just want them to be bite size. You know, I don't think you should be slicing with a knife into your salad. It should be, everything should be bite size. So we'll just go through the rest of this apple. And I think we're good. I think that's probably enough. I'm going to use my little bench scraper here. I'm just going to put a little lemon juice on to keep the apple from turning brown, and our dressing is going to be made with lemon juice, so that can't hurt anything at all. So I'm just going to toss it up so that everything is covered by the lemon. And now here I've got some fresh lemon juice and some olive oil. Here I've got this Cherry Grove Herdsman cheese. It's a aged cheese, so it's kind of dry. It loses its moisture. It actually is lower in lactose when you dry or age a cheese. So I'm using this because it's got some flavor. You need a cheese for this salad that's got some flavor to it. I recommend, if you can't find this, this is a Cherry Grove Farm Herdsman cheese, but you could use a Pecorino Romano. That's a sheep's milk cheese. It's just got to have some sharpness and flavor. You could use Parmesan too if you can't find either of those. First, put in the lemon juice. So I'm not even making the dressing in a bowl by itself. Everything's going right onto the salad, and I'm going to toss this up. So as you're tossing a salad, you'll notice that the heavy stuff falls to the bottom, whether that be the dressing or the fruit. But I really want to coat all of these leaves with this lemon juice and olive oil because that's what's going to tenderize the leaves. It's going to take about 15 minutes. So if you're making this for company, you could make it up to an hour or more in advance and just keep it in the refrigerator. So that's the first part. Now I'm going to add our add-ins, but not all of them, because I want to save some for later for the top, for the final toss, so that we have something pretty on the top, because the heavy stuff falls to the bottom. I'm using, again, Herdsman cheese, which is a dry aged cheese. And so now I'm going to toss all of these ingredients. I toss from the bottom and turn over to the top because, as I said, what's on the bottom is the heaviest parts. So I want to integrate all of this. So the olive oil and the lemon juice will be tenderizing the kale. And I need to let that rest for about 15 minutes. And that's going to enable it to be nice and tender. We've let this rest. I've been tossing it every few minutes. And you can see that it's collapsed somewhat. So that means that the oil and vinegar are tenderizing the raw kale. which makes it very nice and edible. So I'm going to finish this now, putting the rest of the apples and some of the cheese to give it a little fresh boost of that. Then I'm going to just plate it onto our platter. And as I said, the heavy stuff is in the bottom, so it's going to end up on the top of your salad here, which is a good thing. I'm going to add the last few apples to the top, which, as you can see, have been sitting in that lemon juice, so they haven't turned brown, which is a good thing. And then the last flourish is our Herdsman cheese on the top, and we're ready for salad.